Hi, Greg. Thanks for joining us. We're joined by LA Galaxy head coach Greg Vanney. We're going to start with questions in the room with Damian Calhoun. Go ahead, Damian.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, David.
With Mickey in first couple of days in training, what have you liked about him, and how do you think he fits into what you're trying to put out there this year?
Yeah, well, he arrived yesterday. Arrived a couple of days ago. Yesterday, he did a lot of physicals, his physicals and all that stuff during the day. Yesterday afternoon, just running, just a little bit of running, just because the travel was a lot, and the time change and everything else. I'm trying to keep him awake more, as much as anything, so that he could get a good night's sleep tonight, or last night, which he did. Came in today, and he was a part of the session for a certain amount, just, again, getting him situated, and tomorrow he'll be live with the group. So, yeah, I mean, what I like about Mickey is his experience on the defensive side, I think, can be helpful for us. He's played in a lot of big games. He's played and been highly successful. His reading defensively is good. He's smart. He anticipates. He understands the defending side. With the ball, you can do a lot of different things with him. He's technically super clean. He can invert. He can play on the outsides. He's very good at playing off the sideline. So, and it just really a technician. And so I think his capacity to get up and down is good, but I think we can use him in different ways. In terms of positionally as an outside back, we can use him in different ways with the ball. So I like that. I think, the combination of his experience on our back line can help us to maybe close a few gaps here and there that in individual moments that we had over the course of last season. And with the ball, I think the versatility is something that we're looking forward to in terms of the way he plays. So I think he can help us on the ball and without the ball in many ways.
And Will said he had time as a defensive mid. Do you envision him getting some looks there as well?
Not necessarily. I mean, again, the ways that we could use our fullback is we can invert him inside a little bit. And he's comfortable playing kind of in between the lines and playing in support of a defensive midfielder. I don't ever see him being the defensive midfielder, but he could play in support. There's times we could have him working up and down the line, and invert a winger, for example, at times. So that's what I mean when I say he's versatile in the areas of the field that we can kind of move him in possession because he's comfortable in all these different positions. He's technically sound. He's highly aware of his surroundings, things like that, which gives us some versatility in how we want to use him.
Good morning, Greg. Rob Gillon, Last Word on Sports. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
So I know that it's Mickey's day 2, and I know it's really his first day out on the training field. What's the plan in terms of ramping him up? I mean, do you see him getting any minutes in the closed-door session on Saturday, or taking any kind of part in that?
I don't see him being involved on Saturday. We're not in a rush, and he really hasn't even landed and been here a part of it enough. And I don't think there's a risk or a necessary play there. Next week he'll get a full slate of training sessions, and then we have another match, and then we will go to Coachella. So I just want for him, he's been training and trying to stay fit. He's only been off a month because they played in the King's Cup, which was in the latter part of December. And so he's in a good spot, but I don't need to rush him into things. So we'll be patient with him and let him just integrate, get his surroundings too, it's being here and just landing here and getting familiar with the faces and the surroundings. There's no pressure on getting out on the field this weekend, that's for sure. So.
And then in terms of Ricky's availability, because I know he just arrived in camp as well, and then if you can give us a quick update on Martin and Gaston as well.
Sure. Yeah, Ricky, same. He arrived the same day that Mickey did, and yesterday physicals, today out on the field doing some stuff in the gym. He'll see the docs again just to go through the ankle issues that he closed the season out with, just to make sure he feels good. So I would expect over the next week or so, again, just return to play, get all the things out of the way that we want to do to get him ready to play, and then hopefully he'll be ready to get some minutes as we move to Coachella and get the games there and everything else. So I anticipate it to be, based on what he's saying and how he's feeling, I anticipate things to be pretty smooth and relatively quick. And as far as Gaston, the last couple of days have been his first days really on the field. He's been running and doing a lot of stuff inside, but today he's been running on the field, and yesterday he'll start to add the ball into a lot of that stuff. He's feeling better and looking good. So now it's just, I think probably the next couple of weeks will be building up his fitness, building up his resiliency and resistance to like training activities. And then I think, again, as we move towards Coachella and in Coachella, say 2 to 3 weeks before the start of the season, he'll start to be ready, I think, to move into some live playing, if you will. Martin's a little further along. He's been on the field. He's been involved in sessions. I think over the next week he'll be integrated fully, is how I'm seeing it with him. He's been not training full yet, but he's been involved in some portions of the training sessions, which means he only has a couple steps that he needs to continue to work through. So those guys are close. I think as we get to Coachella, you'll start to see more of these guys integrated into the matches anyways as they integrate into training.
Hey, Greg, looking at Mickey's resume in Japan, he's won a lot of trophies. How important was it to add a player like Mickey who knows what it takes to win and also very much fills an area of need on your roster?
Yeah, always important, especially when you get experienced guys that they have not just experience on the field in the play, but experience in being successful and understanding what it takes to be successful. Because when you're establishing those guys into a new league and a new culture, what it takes to be successful always translates, right? So because that's a mentality and it's a way of working every single day and all that. So another guy in our locker room who has that kind of experience can help the group. As he hopefully, I imagine he'll come with the desire to quickly learn the language and learn as much as he can. And I think more of his influence from that side will come. But I think his work habits and on the field, all of that stuff will help translate to our group from a winning perspective. So that's always positive.
Yeah, this might be a little bit more of a tactical question, but last year at right back, Caligari, not very much a guy who would bomb forward often, but Mickey,
Sure.
He seems to do that a lot. Looking at the film, was that an intentional part of looking for him?
For me, it's not just about the fullback. It's also about the winger and the player that you have that plays in front of him. So last year, a lot of times, let's use Douglas as an example, is not a player who stays out on the wings and holds out there. He's left-footed, likes to come inside, and he plays the game. So you kind of, ideally, you want somebody who can come around Douglas. It wasn't necessarily Lucas's strength to be bombing up and down as it was, say, Julian, for example. So Mickey is capable of doing that. I wouldn't say end line to end line is the greatest, but having a player on the wing who can give us some of that width, can play in the one-on-one, can provide some of that, means that there's less stress on the fullback to be a primary attacker, if you will, right, and having to get to the end line and crossing situations. Mickey's capable of doing that. His timing is fantastic, but I don't think he's a player that we always are going to have to do that, because I think when our wingers and the different players that we're bringing in actually get played out, then we won't be requiring that quite as much.
You come off last year, you seem to have a lot more, I guess, available bodies on the back line. How do you see that sort of playing out, with Martin back and Johnny Nelson's back there, and then Mavinga's still here, and Jalen, all those guys?
First thing is for us is get guys healthy and get guys competing and establish some partnerships out of that group. And so we'll see how that plays out over. Getting Jalen still healthy and into full training is been a slow process. So he's still in that those stages of healing and getting out there. So we're short him, and we got to get Martin back out on the field. So right now while we have a lot on paper, we don't have a ton of guys out there training right now. So as we push through preseason, we'll have a better assessment of where everybody fits in as guys get healthy and they get out there and prepared. So with John and Julian, and on the right side with Mickey and Maudy, we want to be too deep in any of these positions. We saw it last year, especially with Leagues Cup and Open Cup, and these games get pushed together. The games come fast and tight, and so we've got to be able to have some level of rotation to try to keep guys fresh and make sure that we're managing ourselves through an entire season. Last year, obviously, we had injuries on top of things, so that made it difficult, but we want to be too deep. We want competition in the team, and we also want the ability to rotate when we need to, when games are coming fast and furious. So I like the bodies right now, and we'll assess kind of how we are as we continue to push through preseason.
And we'll switch over to Zoom now. We'll start off with Margaret Narumi. Margaret, can you hear us? How about Josh? Go ahead, Josh. The audio's not working. Output. Well, we're not hearing anything over the speakers. Can you go ahead again, Margaret? Josh? Stand by. Josh, go ahead.
Well, Greg, while we wait, any other injuries? I know Jalen said he had a knock or working his way back through. Anybody else is still on the mend, aside from Gaston and Martin?
Daniel Aguirre, just minor stuff. I think at the end of the season, maybe it was the last game, had a minor like MCL strain. And again, he's been inside of training a bit, but just kind of final things to make sure that doesn't become a nuisance during the course of training. So he's been working some treatment in addition to, so like today he didn't go full in training, but he's had moments in training. So we're just trying to get him over the hump and make sure that he's, just ready to go. I think outside of that, I think we're okay. That's nothing major. We're on the tail end of that, but he won't play this weekend as an example until we get him through that.
What's the format? Of course, we won't be here. Well, maybe. Somebody might sneak in Saturday, but what's the format for Saturday? Is it 45, 42, 45s?
As it is right now, we'll go 245s. As I talked to Luch when they arrive, if we go 330s, that would be okay too. But right now we're on 245s, and majority of our guys are ready for 45. A lot of guys came in with good fitness levels, and so we were able to get into things pretty quickly. And so most of the guys are ready for 45. There might be a couple that we keep at 30, but everybody that's here is ready to go.
And then is the plan to try to get more of a look on some of the players that are maybe more depth pieces like Bibu and who else? Players like that, like Skillo.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, those guys are going to get time. You'll see a couple of our academy kids who have signed recently. You'll see them into the game that are making good progress. You'll see, obviously, we want to get Miguel going, with the group. So he's obviously going to get some minutes. Nico Scalotto will be in the mix. Trying to think who else. Our draft picks, will be inside of the mix. We happen to have the first team playing San Jose in the morning, and then at, I think it's 2 or 3 in the afternoon, the second team is actually playing Nordjylland. So everybody's going to be getting some minutes over the course of the day. So we'll get a lot of, between our first team all the way through our, some of our U17s, we'll be getting some professional games this weekend. So it should be a good day for that. We have some trialists for the different teams too. So everybody will get some action this weekend. That we want to get action. We'll get action this week.
Like a young player, someone or a prospect that kind of has your interest right now that you kind of want to get more of with the first team players or with men per se?
Yeah, we've got 2 under-17 players, Harbor Miller and Ruben Ramos, who've been in preseason with us. Both are doing a nice job of managing that transition. Nico has been in with us. Tucker, our draft pick, right? Tucker Lepley, he's done a great job coming in. He's a competitive kid, technical. He's picking up things quickly. So I look forward to seeing him in a match situation, So Ethan, goalkeeper, right now the goalkeeping crew, the 4 guys that are goalkeeping have been excellent through the course of preseason. So just, between the draft picks and some of these young guys coming through, it's going to be good to see guys play live. They played against each other yesterday a little bit, but it'll be good to see them against somebody else, different opposition.
All right, thanks for your time, Greg. We'll now.
That's it?
Yep. We'll